Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm Brandon Lee, and that whole video you just saw was shot on the new Insta360 Ace Pro. So this is a new action camera from Insta360. It's not a 360 camera, it's an action camera. So that means that it has a robust body. You can use it in hot conditions, dusty conditions, whatever. It's waterproof up to 10 meters, and you can get a dive case that will take it down to about 200 feet. The LCD screen on the back flips up to become a front preview screen for selfie shooting. So this means I get a full-size preview while I'm shooting, as opposed to just having a small window on the front of the camera. The Ace Pro can shoot in 4K up to 120 frames a second, and it can also shoot in 8K at 24 frames a second. In terms of color modes, the Ace Pro has vivid, standard, and flat. And I shot my entire video in the flat mode. And yes, you can dial the sharpness all the way down, which is what I did, so there was no digital sharpening applied to my image. Okay, now I want to talk about active HDR on the Ace Pro. So this is a mode that gives you a much greater dynamic range so that you can keep your highlights properly exposed and the shadows of the shot exposed properly as well. Active HDR is only available at frame rates of 30 frames a second or lower, so you can't use it when you're shooting 60p, 100p, or 120p. But what it does for you is it automatically compresses the dynamic range to keep everything properly exposed in your shot, and it does it in a more natural looking way than before. You'll get better looking skin tones and you'll get better looking compression of the highlights. It's also got Insta360's usual Flowstate Stabilization, but you can adjust the level of the stabilization now. So you can either have the stabilization set at high, where it eliminates all shake, or you can set it to standard, low, or turn it off completely. The battery can be charged really quickly. It only takes about 20 minutes to get to an 80% charge. And then if you want a full charge, it takes about 45 to 50 minutes. There's also a mic adapter and a cold shoe that you can add to the Ace Pro. And the other thing that I was really excited about with the Ace Pro, which is actually not part of the standard kit, but I'll just go ahead and mention it up front anyway, is the watch that you can use to preview what you shoot while you shoot it. So there's a live wireless link between the camera here and the watch on my wrist, which means while I'm shooting, I can check my framing like that and make sure that it's perfect. So between these two modes of monitoring, I never have to shoot blind. Now I want to take a moment to go a little deeper into the low light performance of the Ace Pro. So the Ace Pro has a larger than usual sensor. It's 1/1.3 inches, which is bigger than the usual half-inch sensor that you'll find in most action cams. But additionally, there's an AI noise reduction mode called Pure Video that applies AI noise reduction before the compression of the video image. The noise reduction isn't getting messed up by the compression artifacts of the video. One advantage of this better low light performance is that you get better stabilization in low light, so you can use a faster shutter speed. 1/100th shutter. Just walking through here, trying this out. Because the way that stabilization works on action cameras is you need to increase your shutter speed to avoid unwanted blurry motion artifacts in your stabilized shot. So if you're in a darker environment and you want to use a faster shutter speed, that means you just need more light getting to the sensor in the first place in order to get an acceptable image. So it really helps to have a bigger sensor and better low light performance so that you can get better stabilization in these low light situations. Another feature I want to talk about is the Clarity Zoom. Clarity Zoom is a feature where you can digitally zoom in on the image by tapping on a part of the screen. If you tap on the touchscreen, you get a 2x zoom in on your scene, and you retain a lot better detail with this Clarity Zoom than just by cropping it in post, because it's cropping in on the Ace Pro's high resolution sensor. So basically the sensor has more than 4K resolution anyway, so when you crop in on that, you retain more detail. I used Clarity Zoom several times in my shoot to get closer shots of more distant objects. The AI Highlights Assistant is another feature that I used when I was shooting. So what this feature does is it uses AI to automatically analyze your footage while you're shooting and pick out the highlights that are probably the best part of each take. It marks those highlights for you, and then when you're scrolling back and watching your footage, you can just quickly jump to the markers and see the best parts of the shot. So if you don't want to do any editing of your videos at all you have to do is connect your Ace Pro to the Insta360 app, and the app will automatically create a highlights reel for you. Now, of course, since I'm a filmmaker, I didn't let it automatically edit my video for me, but I did find the AI Highlights Assistant handy for finding the best part of a long take. Another important feature is the app background download feature. So this is a feature where if you leave the camera connected to the Insta360 app, the app can just automatically pull the videos off of your camera while you're using your phone for other things. So you can be browsing Instagram or whatever you want to do, and the app will keep downloading. You don't have to keep the app in the foreground in order for the download to continue. So this is a really helpful way of getting a backup of everything you shot before you get back to your computer, just in case you happen to lose your action camera or break it while you're shooting. Pause recording is another little feature that can be really handy if you don't want to deal with a whole lot of video files. So basically, instead of starting a new file each time you hit record, what you can choose to do is you can hit pause on the recording. And then when you want to start recording again, you unpause it and it will add to the existing video file. So let's say you're out doing an activity for a long period of time and you don't want to keep recording the whole time, and you also don't want to have to deal with 100 different little clips, then all you have to do is hit pause, record, pause, record, and then you'll end up with just one video clip that has all the moments that you want. All right, now I want to talk a little bit more about how I made my video with the Ace Pro. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is how I used this flip screen for creative shots. You can do a lot more than just shoot selfies like this. First of all, if I want to do a POV shot with this, all I have to do is flip the screen down and then set it in my shirt like that. And then the camera is at a perfect chest level and I can do POV shots. I did this for the POV moped shots because I just wanted to get the shots quickly and I didn't have a proper chest cam with me. Another thing you can do for a quick POV shot is actually just bite down on the LCD screen like this. If you just need a really quick shot that follows the direction of your head, that's about the easiest way to do it. Just make sure you wipe off the screen beforehand and maybe afterwards too. One more use of the screen that was super handy for me was as a mini kickstand. For those quick low angle or tabletop shots, this was just so much easier than bringing along a mini tripod. Now I'm going to talk about rigging up with the multi-mount. So the multi-mount is a mini tripod basically. So you expand out the feet like that, and then you extend the rest of it like this, and you have yourself a mini tripod that can be adjusted for a number of positions. So this is really useful with the Ace Pro, but if you want to connect it to the camera, you need to use this quick release adapter. So that screws on to the top of the multi-mount, and you can just leave it there. And then once that's attached, you can take your camera and just drop it on like this. So you don't have to screw anything in, you just latch on the camera and then it quick releases when you want to take it off, which is just of course a lot easier than screwing stuff in and then unscrewing it again. The way that most people are probably going to use this mount here is as a selfie stick, but I also found a lot more creative uses for this when I was making my video. What I did was I attached the Insta360 selfie stick with an extra little ball head that I pulled off of some, I don't know, monitor hot shoe mount or something, and I gave myself an extra axis of movement here plus the extension of the selfie stick. So I put all of that on the multi-mount like this, and that gave me a lot more reach for my selfies. When I was making this video, I thought to myself, you know what would be really cool? I'd really love to be able to show both my hands in my selfie shots so that you can tell I'm not holding the camera. And then I took a look at this multi-mount and I thought, I bet I can turn this into a DIY Snorricam. So in case you're not familiar with what a Snorricam is, it's essentially a body cam. The camera is mounted on the body of the actor, and then however they move, the camera moves along with them, just like you're seeing here. So here's how I made my Snorricam. I put my multi-mount in tripod mode, 3 legs, just like that, and the rest of the body of the multi-mount is collapsed. And then the selfie stick is attached on it, just like you see here. I extended the selfie stick a bit, and then I rotated around the camera so that it faced me. And then to lock everything in place, I just used a belt that I pulled off an old backpack. And hey, look at that. We've got ourselves a Snorricam. And then for the back view shots, here's what I did. I collapsed the feet of the mini tripod, and then I swung it around behind me, and then expanded the feet back out again, like that. And then I previewed my shot using the watch. And that's how I did my crazy DIY body cam. All right, thank you to Insta360 for sponsoring this video. If you want to learn more about the Ace Pro, the link will be in the description. Otherwise, please click like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.